Losing finalists against former winners. Basel against Liverpool. Ludogorets against Real Madrid. Bayer Leverkusen against Benfica. These are some fixtures for you.
Also have Arsenal taking on Galatasaray.
And injury hit Arsenal.
Yeah, and Anderlecht taking on Borussia Dortmund.
All right, so that's those are fixtures for you of matches to be played Tuesday, Wednesday in the UEFA Champions League. Let's go on a break about a minute. When we return tomorrow in Warri, Delta State, 2014 NFF elections, to be or not to be. You'll find out when you join us after this time out. For you, and we will quickly go on now to the next part of Sports Tonight. And Yemi, tomorrow it's decision time for Nigerian football. We will be electing a new leadership for Nigerian football in Warri, Delta State. But of course, the highlight of every NFF election is who gets to become the president of the Nigerian Football Federation. And Yemi, there are 7 qualified Nigerians vying to become president of the Nigerian Football Federation. Mike, okay, let me start from the pictures on your screen. Amanze Uchegbulam, Shehu Diko, Abayola, Taiwo Gunjobi, Dominic Ayofa, Amaju Pinnick, Mike Ume, 7 eminently qualified Nigerians vying to be president of the Nigerian Football Federation. That will be the highlight of the elections tomorrow in Warri, Delta State.
A lot of other things will happen, but surely it's just like in the Olympics, the 100 meters.
For me, it's the biggest. It's just like every sport, the World Cup is the biggest.
Yeah, the high point, really, and we're spoiled for choices. But like I said last week, it's sad because you and I will not be the ones
voting,
doing the choosing. But of course, hopefully, whatever happens will be in the best interest of Nigerian football. And between this evening and tomorrow morning, whatever needs to be sorted out, hopefully, there might be 1 or 2 distractions here and there, but hopefully those things will be sorted out. But like you said, these guys are qualified, but the story is which one of them would eventually take that exalted position and probably change the course, turn around Nigerian football.
All right, let's take you very quickly now to Warri in Delta State. Let's find out what's happening in Warri, Delta State. Our very good friend, okay, let me introduce him in a very proper way. International sports journalist Colin Udo joins us from Warri, Delta State now. Colin, what's going on? You are on the ground. Today you had a debate for presidential candidates. Let's feel your pulse. What's going down right there in Warri as we speak ahead of tomorrow's elections?
Oh, thank you very much, Tony. I think you're right. There was a debate today, and almost all the candidates except one, that's Shehu Diko, were involved, and they gave their thoughts on their manifesto, so to speak, tried to sell themselves to delegates, to the media, and to those who were present there. And while I think it was a good show, I think overall I must say that I was disappointed by the overall quality of the debate. Maybe it was down to the lack of time, but I didn't think the candidates gave us enough, in terms of what they want to offer to Nigerian football to convince me or anybody else to say, okay, look, this particular person is the right man for the job. I think we needed a bit more depth, a bit more, should I say, a bit more depth, in their deliveries, and unfortunately, I don't think we got that.
Well, Colin, these elections, I mean, if you look at what has been happening in the last couple of weeks, probably the most disputed, the hotly contested, on and off, behind the scene happenings, this probably will pass for the one that has been the most dramatic. Is that in any way bringing some kind of tension? Or what's the atmosphere like for you in Warri ahead of tomorrow's election? Because by the time the elections are held tomorrow, is that just going to be the end of all the crises we've seen in the last couple of weeks?
No, I don't think so. There has been crisis. There will continue to be crisis of a sort. And definitely it's give and take, really, touch and go, whether the election will take place tomorrow, because there are still other outstanding issues, which I'm sure you're going to be asking me in a little bit. But having said that, I think the elections will go on, but it definitely will by no means be the end of the crisis. What's going to happen is that after the election, maybe probably that's when we're going to start seeing the beginnings of the end of the crisis. But right now, it won't mark the end of it. We have very strong interest groups who do not want this election to go on. We have those who want different things out of this election, and we want those who strongly wanted to go on. If you remember, early today, Laji Aminu Megari, the current NFF president, was almost prevented from coming to Warri by security operatives in Abuja. He had to make a call to some high-level, highly placed people in the Nigerian police force before he was allowed to board. The same thing happened with one of the leading candidates, or one of the candidates, Shehu Diko, who was not present at the debate. He was also delayed by security operatives in Abuja and also on landing here in Warri today. So that's why he missed the debate. So there's a lot of water going under the bridge here. And, you know, to be honest with you, the end of this election will not mark by no means the end of the crisis. It will only mark probably the beginning of the resolution of the crisis.
Colin, before the elections, tomorrow's elections were a result of the Congress that held on the 20th of September in Warri. There was an injunction that came late on the eve of that Congress, asking that the Congress shouldn't hold, and also by extension that maybe elections should also not hold. Is that resolved now? Do you see that preventing all that will be going down tomorrow? I'm also told that the FIFA CAF representative is also in town, Kwesi Nyantakyi from Ghana. How is that playing out for you as somebody who is following all these developments?
Well, first of all, yes, there was a court injunction from a court injunction. Isn't it instructive to you, however? I think we should ask, why is it that whenever there is a court injunction against the NFF, it always comes from Jos? Is Jos the only place where we have a court in Nigeria? Is there no court in Abuja or Lagos or elsewhere? Why is it always...
That's where the interest is, Colin.
Anyway, having said, I just want to point that out because it seems every time we get a court injunction against the NFF or the NFA, it always seems to come from the same court in Jos. And so I think maybe that does look into. But having said that, I think that injunction was given before the Congress. Unfortunately, it wasn't served on the NFF, so the Congress actually went ahead. But before this current this elective Congress, that been served by substitution because the notice has been placed at the NFL at the Glass House in Abuja and photographs taken. But what I understand that there were some technical issues around that particular court order, so the people have gone back to get a fresh one. But at the same time, the NFL also got a lawyer who's also getting a stay of execution, you know, on that order at the same time. So trying to vacate it so that the election can go on, and then they can resolve the crisis. And that's why I told you that this election will by no means mark the end of the crisis because you have a court order. You have another order asking for a stay of execution, and then the election will go on. Once the election is over, they will now go back into the trenches, and the fight will continue. And at that point, that's when the resolution of the crisis will begin.
Colin, before I allow you to go, let's talk politics now. I know you have your ears to the ground, and you know the horse trading that's currently going on. Who amongst these 7 eminently qualified Nigerians do you see winning tomorrow's election?
That's a difficult thing to say, and in fairness to everybody, I'd rather not say because you know it puts everybody else in a difficult position. So I think I'm privileged to have certain information regarding some way that the votes will go, and tonight is going to be a lot of politicking. So it will be unfair of me to say okay, candidate A or candidate B has an advantage because then it will now put the other one at a disadvantage, and even put maybe the leading candidates at a disadvantage also. But let's just say that I have an idea of where the wind will blow.
Well, Colin, thank you so much for speaking to us on Sports Tonight.